which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call, please.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Here.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Here.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Thank you. Under approval of the agenda, we are taking off under resolutions number G, the Beatty rezoning does not need to be done today, so I need a motion to approve the agenda minus that item.
So moved.
Motion by Carl Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Under public comment, Julie, do you want to speak now, or do you want to wait till we have that on the agenda? It's actually the last item, so you'd have to stay through the whole thing. So if you want to speak now and get your points in, that's fine. Okay, all righty. Then I won't do any public agenda for that then. Moving down to the consent agenda. Item number 3, which was the Independence Area Chamber of Commerce Class B beer permit for last Friday. They had the event already, and because this didn't get approval, we didn't have a meeting and such, there was no alcohol that was served. So I'm putting that down under new business or other business, and maybe, because it's not a resolution, we'll change that to the A, move all the other business ones down one and make that a number A for under other business for just that item. Otherwise, I need a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the July 22nd, 2019 regular meeting, bank reconciliation for the month of June, Independence Brewbecue Outdoor Service Special Class C liquor license, August 22nd, 2019 through August 26, 2019. Casey's General Store 2169 Class E liquor license. Casey's General Store number 3292 Class E liquor license. Casey's General Store number 2239 Class E liquor license. Pat's Tap C liquor license, Living Quarters Outdoor Service, and Sunday Sales liquor license, September 1st, 2019 through August 31st, 2020.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next is approval of the claims for payment.
So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Kurtz. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Under petitions from the public, we have a petition from Kevin Seidels for bow hunting on his premises, that I would need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in, oh no, you need a roll call, sorry.
Have we had any comments from neighbors or anybody?
No issues at all.
Okay.
Okay, roll call.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the Brewbecue, and we have a representative here. Do you want to come forward, John, in case anybody has any questions, or to give us an update or anything?
I won't take too much of your time. This is our 14th year. It's hard to believe we've been doing this for 14 years. I am the last original committee member that started this in 2006. That's probably because I'm getting old. One of the things that makes the Brewbecue really special is we have a charity every year. This year it's the Otter Creek Animal Shelter, which is up in Hazelton. Last 6 years, we've given away over $30,000 to our charities. It's been a really successful event. This year, a little something different. The Rash Ride has merged in with us. We're partnering with Rash Ride, so the morning of our bike ride, that will be the Rash Ride. So we think that's fun. So the event continues to grow. We've got a couple new breweries coming this year. It should be a lot of fun. So as far as the request goes, all the road things that we're asking for is basically the same as we've been doing every year. There's no changes there.
And this year, your bicycle that you are
raffling off.
raffling off is a bicycle built for two.
It is. We have a tandem bike that, we partner with United Beverage out of Waterloo. And it's a Mike's Hard Lemonade tandem bike. So if we are selling, I don't have any tickets with me in case anybody wanted them, but the raffle tickets are for sale at various spots in town. All the proceeds from the tandem bike raffle go to Otter Creek. None of those will go into the barbecue fund. They'll go directly to Otter Creek.
I already got my tickets.
Thanks for bringing that up, honey. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, but it's basically, the format is exactly the same as you've approved in the past.
I make a motion to approve it.
Okay, motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by Hayward. Roll call, please.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Hey,
Looking forward to it.
just as a closing comment, we really appreciate the city's support. For 14 years, you've totally supported our event. We appreciate that very much.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you for
You
all
did a
your
good
work.
job. Hearings and ordinances. We have a I need a motion to approve and consider this ordinance for its first reading.
This is the rezoning ordinance for Second Street Northeast, number 208 and 210. We've approved the rezoning. We simply have to adopt the ordinance to make it official. So this is the ordinance. First reading of the ordinance was not at the last meeting when you approved it because we did not have the ordinance for you. So we'd ask you to consider the reading of the first reading of this. You also have the option of waiving the second and third, or second and approving on the third, if you so choose.
Do I hear a
I'll make the
motion? Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Hannah. Roll call, please.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Now, if you would like to waive the second and make a motion to approve second and third together for final passage and for adoption pursuant to Iowa Code Section 380.3. If there's a motion for that.
Have we had any comment or anything on it, or?
No, we've had no comment, no issues that have come up that we've been made aware of. If you've heard of something, I'd be interested, but again, we haven't heard anything.
I'd make a motion, we approve it.
I'd second it.
Motion by Kurt, second by O'Loughlin. Roll call, please.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
No.
Hill,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next is a public hearing proposal. Public hearing on proposal to enter into a general obligation corporate purpose loan agreement. I motion to receive and file proof of publication of motion of public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Hannah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. And then I need a motion to hold the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second?
second by Kurtz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We are now in public hearing in regards to the general obligation corporate bond, or loan agreement, excuse me. There, any discussion? I think we've
Well, maybe,
discussed this at
Al,
different
could you
things.
explain what this is covering?
This covers a number of projects that include some of the engineering for the street projects that we've done, our 2019 street improvement project reconstruction. We put the $200,000 estimate for the bridge resurfacing on the Wapsie Bridge in there. It's a not-to-exceed amount of $1.4 million, which is including all of your bond issuance fees that go with it. Really, it's taking all of the projects that we've got this year. When we issued the last bond, it was an estimate, and this just cleans up all those loose ends and adds the 19th Street project and the Wapsie Bridge resurfacing to that.
And that's First Street Bridge?
First Street over
Over
the
Wapsie
Wapsie.
River, okay.
So it's kind of a culmination of several projects with the engineering fees in it.
19th Street, is that the one by Casey's then? Where's the you mentioned 19th Street?
2019
Oh,
Street.
2019.
That's the 10th Street Southwest.
Oh, sure.
And Fifth Avenue. We did not have those funded in the last one, so that's included in this project here.
Okay.
And then an estimate on the 2020 Street project, which includes several.
Well, there's several pieces, including
Yeah.
Bland Boulevard, from where the county stopped east to Sixth Avenue is included in there. Again, we've targeted the $270,000 a year for street maintenance. Next year, we are matching it with federal grant dollars, or transportation dollars, so we're actually doing, I think it's 17 blocks instead of the 8 blocks of street next year.
Reconstruction or overlay?
Bland is, help me out, Brian, it's yeah, thank you. It's what we did last year.
Okay.
It's not the 10th Street reconstruction like we're doing this, on that stretch.
Sure.
And we got the grant money to match on those 19 streets, or?
Right, that's been earmarked through the Intercog, Transportation Advisory Board has approved it for next fiscal year, and that's already programmed. And that's not exact, but it's about a dollar for dollar match. I think we're getting a little bit more than 50% from the federal dollars.
We didn't get anything in writing, you didn't receive anything in regards to it.
And before you, I don't want to mix projects here. We do have another hearing, or we could have another hearing. Part of our Highway 150 reconstruction project that's coming up, we're looking to do an SRF planning and design loan, which is a zero-interest loan during the design phase for the water and sewer portions. There's a general obligation portion for the street that we have to pay for upfront. We will set a public hearing for you at the next council meeting to consider adding that borrowing for the general obligation portion to this bond before we sell it, so we're doing it once. But that's about $250,000 for our responsibility that does not fall under the SRF loan. You will also see coming up by the end of the year, we'll have to have 2 separate public hearings for the SRF borrowing. Brian is working with us on the intended use plan that we have to submit to get that into the process. Fairly lengthy, but that's a 0% loan that they carry until such time as we enter into the loan agreement with the state for the SRF loan, and then they roll that amount into the overall loan, which is 2% over 20 years.
Will that change, well, we have to change rates in order to,
That's part of what we have to look at is, through this process, is evaluate our water and sewer rates if we're going to use it as a revenue bond, which I would recommend, as opposed to debt service. Right, the debt service levy.
Does Enterprise Drive go into any of this on street improvements for 19?
It's listed
Is that in
in,
there?
it's listed
Part
in
of it?
here as part of our eligible projects, so
Okay.
really it's covering all of those active projects that we have.
Okay. Any other questions? Then I would ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Scharf and Kurtz, I think, I heard, if I got the right ones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving down to resolutions. A will be in regards to, on the agenda item that we had, Independence Area Chamber of Commerce Class B beer includes wine coolers, was for their August 8th 2019, the August 12th was for their Live at 5 last Friday. Because we were not able to get this all taken care of ahead of time, they still had Live at 5 with the live music and everything, but did not serve any alcohol. But you need to officially deny this request, so it can go to the state ABD department, and they know that the council denied it. So we don't have to have that, so I would need a motion. I don't know if the motion has to say to deny the request? Is that how it has to be done? Or,
I prefer a motion to approve and then defeat it,
okay,
as opposed to a negative motion.
I'll make motion.
okay.
Second.
Motion by Hill, second by Scharf. You need a roll call with this?
No, just
Okay.
I would ask that you vote against this.
Why was this not on a previous agenda?
There was a delay in getting the information back from the state to the clerk in regards to it, and once she gets it, it still has to be done by the police department, fire department and stuff, and there wasn't enough time. We would have had to have a special meeting last Friday for it, which would have cost the chamber to pay for that special meeting, and they didn't feel they wanted that expense, and that it was easier just to have the event without the alcohol. And next time, make sure they start this sooner than later and stuff. See, we're looking in to see how far in advance we can actually make this request for their events. We're hoping that, because they usually have 2 or 3 Live at 5, we're hoping that somehow we can approve all of those up front before the summer, and that way we don't have to go through
We
this
didn't do that?
every month. What?
We didn't do that when they started for the first one?
They did
Well-
not have their liquor license. We approved their event,
Yes.
but they didn't have their liquor license
Right.
in there.
And then somehow it gets hung up sometimes by the insurance. If the insurance doesn't get to the state in time, then they won't even look at it to send the approval to the city clerk to get it out and get it checked and put it on the agenda for you. So it's a situation that takes different steps, and there wasn't enough time to get them all in. We didn't have council meetings that were official to be able to do it, so.
I think some of it, they had a change in the director down there. and
Right.
So they,
I just didn't want to confuse that we screwed up and didn't.
oh,
Not our screw up. for one.
No,
We did,
it's nothing the council did, and actually, there's no one person that was at fault. I think that Nikki thought that when she had the 2 events approved for the events, that took care of both of them when it came to the liquor license, and it didn't take this particular one, and when she sent this in, you never know how long the state's going to have that, and she didn't know how long it took the insurance company to get the information to the state, but they won't even look at it until they get that component, and then that still has to come back to our city clerk, and then she still has things that have to be done before it can be put on an agenda item. So it was just a situation that time-wise it wasn't able to do. So we need to deny their request because of the fact that it was, I don't know, whatever reason when you get for denying it, but we actually
What if we pass?
need you to vote this down.
can we just vote?
So you don't need a roll call. This is, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That's what I need. Thank you very much. So Gina can now send this back to the state and let them know that it wasn't approved, and that way it closes the packet. Otherwise, it stays out there and hangs in the air if we didn't address it tonight. So, moving on. Resolution taking additional action on proposal to enter into a general obligation corporate purpose loan agreement. I need a motion to approve a resolution taking this action for loan agreement and a principal amount not to exceed $1,400,000.
So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second?
second by Kurtz. This one we do need a roll call for.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Thank you, that motion is carried. Next, I have a motion to approve a resolution setting the date for a public hearing on urban renewal plan amendment on September 9th, 2019 at 6:30 PM in council chambers.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf.
Second.
Second by O'Loughlin.
This public hearing is, in essence, authorizing you, if you approve the amendment to the urban renewal plan, giving you the option to use tax increment financing to retire a portion of that 1.4 million. You don't have to, it just leaves that door open for you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next is a resolution approving contract and performance. I need a motion. Motion to approve a resolution with approval of contract and performance and/or payment bonds for the Enterprise Drive PCC paving, sanitary sewer, and water main construction project.
So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. Roll call. You don't need a roll call on this?
Yes, I do.
You do? Okay.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried.
Thank you, Al, for working on this, and know the state would ever come.
Yeah.
It was questionable, wasn't it? Okay. Next, I need a motion to approve a resolution to assess property owners for Chapter 52 mowing failure to comply.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by Kurtz. Roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next, we need a motion to approve a resolution with revisions to the Employee Personnel Policy Handbook, which puts in the code for an ombudsman for employees.
So moved.
Motion by Kurtz,
Second.
second by Scharf. Roll call, please.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried.
What- Question, why would we need this as an ordinance, the ombudsman? I mean, isn't that like a whistleblower?
Because the state legislature passed a new code that says we have to notify them. The easiest way for us to make sure everybody's notified is to put it in the employee handbook, then all future employees have that notification that they have to sign off on that they've read.
Okay.
That also triggers for us, for existing employees, we send out a notice for this change, they have to sign that they received that notice. They've always, I mean, they've had this option, we just have to notify them now.
Yeah.
So,
We never even got notice that there was a change as far as of course, maybe it wasn't for us with the state.
You don't get to talk to them.
State,
I'm pretty
We've called them
sure,
several times.
I'm pretty sure that you're included in that state code change, but
Yep.
state and federal government never have to do what they tell us to do.
That's not too far from the truth.
it's a very minor change, so I appreciate the amendment.
Okay, next on the agenda is a motion to approve a resolution to replace and repeal our Resolution 2012-113 with a revision to the Commercial Restoration Rehabilitation New Construction Program.
This is incorporating the changes that we talked about at the Committee of the Whole to the Commercial Restoration Rehab Program. The changes are very few. The percentage changed from 25% to 33%. The maximum per side was $5,000, increased from $2,500. And then the total eligible for any one project increased from 10,000 to 20,000, again, based on the percentages and the maximum per side. Based on the conversation that we had at the Committee of the Whole, and going through here, I did not see where we had to make other changes to the program to incorporate that. And there was a discussion about the percentage and the amounts and what have you. So, again, I think that language would accommodate your desires if you wanted to make that change.
This is hopefully to make an incentive for some of the downtown businesses to be able to do some improvements to the fronts of their buildings, windows, doors, fronts, whatever, with an increase in the amount that they can get help for that.
It's still set up before, Al. They do the job, and they submit the invoice to us, and we reimburse them. Not, they can't come and get it beforehand, as we've had a few others try to do that, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
And as a matter of fact, it is very patient capital. They have to submit it to us. We certify it with our TIF certification December 1st. They don't get it until after that. It's a fairly lengthy wait because of the process we have to go through to secure the dollars that are used for this program.
And they do have to submit it before they begin any work on the project.
The application has to be approved by the council before they do the work. We have to approve it before they start. And then when they complete the work, they submit the bills. Actually, they have to have 75% completion when they submit their bills. And, like I said, we go through the process.
And then they get reimbursed for the cost?
They get
To a
reimbursed.
certain amount, okay.
This is a program, isn't it, that it's got to be facing a main street too?
Right, right.
So they couldn't just do the front and back, because the back probably not going to be,
Well, there are some buildings that have a back exposure that we have funded front and back downtown because of the parking lots in the back,
Okay.
and the council has opted to recognize that and encourage those improvements as well. So I know we've done
Okay.
front and back. There's very limited opportunities for more than front and back, but there are a couple that, could be eligible theoretically.
I make a motion to approve this resolution.
I hear- Motion from Hannah, second by Hayward to approve. I need a roll call, please.
Hill,
yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Make sure we get that information out to all the businesses downtown especially. Other business, Buchanan County Agricultural Extension. This brought up here. Motion to approve a memorandum of agreement with Buchanan County Agricultural Extension District for the implementation of a local foods educational project in the annual amount of $4,668.25 ending August 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Kurt.
Second.
Second by Scharf.
What's the explanation of this one again?
This is the local foods coordinator position at Extension that's running the farmer's market, among other things.
Did we skip over the rezoning?
The rezoning
No,
was
that was the
pulled.
one we pulled
Oh, we
when we
pulled that.
approved the agenda. That was the one we pulled out. So everybody understand what this is for? We discussed this at the meeting of the whole also. So, do I hear a motion?
I have a motion from Kurtz and a second from
Oh, we
Sharp.
do have that already. Sorry, excuse me. Roll call then.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
Okay, one of our favorite ones. Motion to approve the wastewater treatment plant change order in the amount of $11,738.67. I always look directly to Carl whenever I read one
Well,
of these. I'm not sure, nothing personal.
Well, no, Bonnie, just to let you know, at the last Public Works, they fastened me, they gave me the warning, and Mark made it clear, so I braced myself, and I'm prepared.
I just-
Disconnecting your house if you vote it down.
So does that mean you want to make this motion?
Why not?
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Scharf, second by O'Loughlin. Roll call, please.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
No.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next is the Open Gov. Well, that is motion to whether we
Whether we
discontinue
discontinue.
this service since it's not being utilized, and
In the last 12 months, we've had 105 visits to this program on our website. A total of 32 of those were local residents. The rest were out of state or, out of the area. The average visit was 52 seconds, which doesn't spend much time digging into the financial transparency piece. I think Gina calculated this to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $125 per visit to the site. We pay $4,000 a year for the service, and from a staff perspective, we would recommend discontinuing the service. I think we made a good effort to improve or enhance the financial transparency. It has not caught on, and so I don't know that it's,
One of the problems that I have with this is I use it. And
You're one of the
every
two?
Every time I use it, it takes me about 15 minutes to figure out how to get back into it. Yeah, I think if there was an icon right at the beginning that this said, to go there, but I think people start to try to find it, and it's like, I don't think it exists.
it's not user-friendly. I've tried it a couple of
Yeah,
times
it's
too and
definitely-
never made it
I don't know
through.
if they could come up with, like, you got this icon for a agenda. If you had something like that you could just click on, I think people would use it, but it's just not, as Bonnie said, not user-friendly.
Oh.
I agree 100%, Bob, because it's,
It's got great information in there. I mean, break stuff down on what we're spending and how much we spent so far for the year on, it's just, you can't get to it.
I make the motion to save the city some money.
I second it.
Motion by Hannah, second by Kurtz. Roll call?
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
No,
Scharf,
Yes,
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. The vote was to discontinue it, right?
yeah,
But and you voted no?
Bob likes it.
Oh, because you
I
like
like
it. You just want them to improve it.
I want them
Okay.
to make it so
Thank you.
people could get to it.
Motion still carried. Just want to make sure I understood what was going on.
Poor thing's being killed because it's hidden.
It's our own fault.
Okay, next on the agenda is seal coating quotes for Lover's Lane.
we have two quotes for seal coating. The lowest is $32,500. Tim did work to secure a couple different quotes for the city. And so the information you have, one of the contractors asked for it to be organized differently, so it looks like it's all in the same project. These are two separate projects, and I want to make that clear. But we would recommend the quote of $32,500 for the item one on that sheet that you have.
I'd make a motion, we approve it.
Who was that with?
Prairie Road Builder.
Yes, thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Kurtz, second by Hayward. You need roll call?
Is that the cheapest one?
That is the cheapest. The other one was $35,000.
Okay, roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes,
Scharf,
yes,
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next is a motion in regards to 2019 chip and seal quotes.
Again, the low quote on that was from Prairie Road Builders at $49,883. That would be items 2, 3, 4, and 5.
this is for other streets
This is-
throughout the community.
Right, the other streets that we have that are
Correct. There's,
chip seal or
Seal coat.
well, it's a different process, and Tim can,
rock and one's chip seal, one's chips, one's P-rock.
And this,
Heavier traffic roads with heavier load, we use P-rock, and the ones that not so heavy, we use chip rock, chips.
Okay, this is not the crack and seat or the, okay.
I'd make a motion, we accept these.
Second.
Motion by O'Loughlin, second by Kurtz. Roll call, please.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Okay, motion to approve the purchase of a skid steer for the Independent Street Department from Case in the amount of $40,600.
Could we have Tim come up and what, because he was at Public Works, explained why, even though Star was the cheaper, but would you come up, Tim, yeah?
Star was the cheapest, but the reason at first, Case was 43,600, but they came down 3,000 when I called them back and told them that we're gonna keep our trade-in, we're gonna trade in. And so actually, they still are $1,100 more, but by the time I have to convert everything over, we have a Case now, we have a good program with them for maintenance and stuff. I just soon like to stay with the Case, so I don't have to have any trouble converting all the equipment over, because everything what we have will stay with our equipment except for the forks. Mark will, whoever gets the old one, Mark or the Parks, they'll get our old forks and we'll get a new set of forks. But other than that, everything else should change right over and hook right up and everything, no problem
So
whatsoever.
you'd have to retrofit everything if you bought the different machines.
I know hydraulic lines and some of that stuff
Oh,
ends I
God,
would have
that
had
end
to,
up- That would eat that 1,100 pretty quick.
possibly, yeah. And like I say, when we have a good work relationship with them now, they work on they do our maintenance on our big case loader. And then we just set everything up on a program, they come up and do them both at the same time, and everything's checked out and everything. And everything will be under warranty with them again, so I'd just soon stay with the Case if I could.
Well, I appreciate you, as we talked, sharpened their pencil a little bit, and they did. And so, would, the time and the effort saving you, and you're happy with the service we're getting, and so I'd make a motion, we approve this.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Scharf, second by O'Loughlin. Any other questions? Roll call.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Good you
Thanks, Tim.
stayed, right? Next on the agenda is a motion to approve the purchase of a mini hoe for the Independent Street Department from Star Equipment in the amount of $35,793.33. Anything you need to tell us on that one?
Nope, they were the cheapest and good outfit and stuff. We've done work with Star before too, but Light Plant has the same outfit and they have real good luck with theirs, so.
Okay.
I'd make a motion, we approve it.
Second?
Motion by Kurtz, second by Scharf. Roll call, please.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Good going. Next on the agenda, motion for down payment assistance application.
Last year, we went through an LMI housing program with 3 down payment assistance awards and 7 homeowner rehab awards. The homeowner rehabs were completed. We did have 1 down payment assistance application at the time. That leaves 2 available that the council has approved. Ms. Youngblood has gone through the income verification process and is eligible for a down payment assistance. If you award this, this would give her the ability to take that to her banker and use it as part of her pre-qualification, if you will, or qualification for purchasing a home.
Is this for a new home? Or,
New or existing, it does not have to be new construction, no.
I'd make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Motion by Kurtz, second by Hill.
And as a reminder, this is a forgivable loan that we'd be entering into once she gets into an actual mortgage arrangement. They would close on this at the same time as they would the other documents, and they'd sign a forgivable loan document, which over 5 years would, in essence, go away, but she has to be in it for 5 years.
And the
That was
amount
just
of,
part of our LMI contribution for 2019, 2020 budget.
Well, this is, yeah, this would have to be recouped through our certification, through the, I mean, not our certification, I'm sorry. This is the LMI set aside that we have
We gained because of the,
gained from our TIF collections. If it's market rate housing, we collect 39% of those funds that sit in LMI for this type of a project.
This is different than the one that we did that gave them money for repairs, isn't it?
Same concept, we broke it into two divisions, the down payment assistance and the repairs. And we only used one of the three eligible down payments at the time.
so will we have money for the repair assistance this year also, or?
But we'll take a look at it as we go through the process. It won't be this year. When we get to next summer, we'll evaluate it again, see what we have built up in there. We have quite a bit of LMI funding coming in because we've got very active market rate housing projects. But I don't have a number for you offhand. We'll take a look and make sure we know that we have enough to have a worthwhile project.
Sure.
It's fairly labor intensive, so you don't want to do it for one or two, and again, here we did 7 repair and 3 down payment assistance when we initiated this one. We can use the same plan the next time.
and we
Are we
already,
still eligible for one more down payment assistance?
Right.
but we did all 7 of the repairs. Didn't we get all
Yes.
those done? Okay.
And not all of them maxed out on the $7,500, but, they used a pretty good chunk of it. So there'll be some money in there. And we'll let that build back up to where we can do, a fair number of programs each year.
Does it, I'm sorry,
No.
does this carry over if nobody takes this third one this time, then would we have 4 or if we continued it or whatever
Yeah,
we decide?
The money has to be used for LMI eligible folks, so whether we can say it carries over, it sits there until we find an eligible use. The council in essence authorized us to spend a certain amount of that on this program, so that third one would sit out there until somebody qualified and applied for it.
Could we put that in, if we don't do a third down payment, could we next year decide to use that in repair work?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, again, you have a lot of flexibility the way we wrote the program, so you can shift that if we don't have anybody else back to the homeowner repair.
And wasn't it, correct me if I'm wrong, but say the person doesn't establish their 5-year timeline, isn't it prorated out?
Yes, the 25,000 is prorated over the 5 years, and they pay back whatever year they haven't completed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next is motion on our First Street West Trail project, a change order by Kidsville request.
Kidsville had asked us with our trail project if we would consider adding a tile to the project to help drain water away from their playground area. The contractor gave us a quote of $1,050 to add 140 feet of tile to the project. I did visit with the school district. They would be pleased to participate on a 50/50 cost share for the project. I think it's a pretty simple way for us to help improve that area. They're probably looking to do even more if they can, but they said they would participate with us, and we'd recommend the change.
I'd make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Motion by Kurtz, second by Scharf. Roll call, please.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is Ward 4 sidewalks. A motion to give approval to send out the letters.
I'm sorry, to go back one question here with,
Yeah.
with this, First Street West, are they thinking that they'll have that done before school starts, or kids be able to use it, or?
That's a great question for the engineer on the project.
I see he showed up. I didn't want him to feel like he came for nothing.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure he got some recognition tonight, so.
Well, I think it's good news, so I just, we have the opportunity to share it.
Yeah, the contract, I don't want to speak for them, but all along, they felt real comfortable with getting things completed. I would say substantial completion, considering that we do have finally gotten some rain here in town after a long dry spell. So that will set them behind a little bit, but I think they felt comfortable that they would have the work substantially complete by the time school started.
Well, I'm going back here. Are we setting up something for the crossing? Do we have that in the works too? I see they got the curb cuts and stuff, but we talked about different kinds of crossing.
Yes, K&W Electric has already set both of the bases. There's one required on each side. So there'll be, I believe it's a 46-foot mast arm with pedestrian push-button actuators on each side that will have 2 beacons per direction there, both east and west bound traffic will come to that 2-way flashing beacon anytime that crossing is actuated. So yes, that is included in the project, and they've begun work on that.
Okay.
And where is that crossing actually at along
It
there?
is just east of what I will call the West Elementary entrance, across from the Little Red Schoolhouse. So it's directly in front of the Dollar General parking lot.
Okay. And that's included in the cost, or that's included in this project that'll be finished before school starts?
That was included
Crossing.
in the original scope of work for the project. And again, the contractor has given us confidence that they feel comfortable that they'll be substantially complete before school starts. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
On that project, since we're talking about that, and everybody knows, we've had a couple of, with the rain today, some concerned folks out there about their driveways and what we can do to enhance that and minimize the impact on their driveways while they finish. I know Brian's been talking to them, and we'll continue to work on that. If you get anybody calling you or asking, we have been in contact, and we'll work with the contractor to try and address those as best we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, now we're moving to Ward 4 sidewalks, and the motion is to approve for the staff to send out the letters. Am I saying that right?
Should we hear from public first?
Yeah, but we got to get a motion on there and then let her address that. Is there a way this motion needs to be read or set up, or?
Not particularly. You could do a motion authorizing the city's administrative staff to issue notices to abutting owners with respect to the 4th Ward sidewalk project.
Okay.
I make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by
Well
Kurt,
said.
second by Hayward. And then we do have somebody that signed in, beginning with Julie Clammer. If you'd like to step forward, this is the time for you to be able to speak to this topic. Thank you for staying through the rest of it all.
Julie Clammer, 511 2nd Avenue Northeast. And the reason I'm here is because I did not get a letter. And my question, and a lot of our neighborhood's questions, was, why did we not get a letter? When we actually were told that the sidewalks were going to be upgraded to ADA compliance. Even today, when I pulled up the sidewalk regulations for the City of Independence, have you considered changing your sidewalk regulations that states sidewalks need to be ADA compliant? Right now, it says nothing in here. Does not give us a clue, gives us no direction. I had my sidewalk cut up. I spoke with John Kurtz. He came over and it showed me all kinds of brochures and flyers. I had a question on one of my seams. He gave me the Code enforcement's name and phone number. Said, give him a call, question him about it. I said, when we have questions. By the next day I came out, my sidewalk was already cut, sanded, finished. So that really didn't give me a lot of reassurance that some of us were being treated fairly as to not receiving a letter, not even stating what is compliant. In fact, Al Roeder told me I should have had it fixed 2 weeks ago. I didn't even know what he was talking about. Fix what 2 weeks ago? Because I did not get a letter. And even for us to fix anything, we didn't know what we were supposed to fix because none of us knew we were out of compliance. It's not in your sidewalk regulations either. So I guess one of my questions is, before you enforce something, maybe your regulations need to be updated and clear to us so we know what you guys are talking about. And before the city council sends people out to our property and tells us, we're going to do it at your expense, we need a better explanation than that. I would like to know, since I did not receive a letter, and there's a couple of us in our neighborhood that did not receive a letter, what fallback do we have now?
Do you want to address that? Will they receive, if they approve this, will they receive the letter if it's already been done? Or will all properties receive it, or just those that haven't gotten done yet?
Those
under
that
the-
have not gotten it done yet.
Okay. Do you want to address this?
I am not, I'm the council's legal counsel. I cannot provide legal counsel to the public.
We were under the impression that this was our, what, 4th year we're doing this?
Right.
And we've gone ward by ward. And we were under the impression that by having the notice in our meeting agendas and discussions publicized about it, and the articles that were printed in the paper, that we had given sufficient notice, and we were informed by our legal counsel that really we hadn't, and we hadn't followed through with what we should do. And that is why we halted any further work done on the sidewalks until we could meet and approve to send the letters out notifying everybody. It will give them a period of time that they can, if they so choose, do the repairs themselves, or we will come in and do it.
But is it-
And it was a good faith effort that was wrong, is basically what it was.
Have any of you considered changing your sidewalk regulation? If you want it ADA, don't you think your regulation should probably state what that is? Because none of us know. If I'm required to maintain it, John, how long did it take you and I, over the phone and on our computers, to even find what the ADA regulations were, to know what my sidewalk was supposed to become? We have no clue.
And sometimes those can change from year to year, too.
But at this point,
Federal.
there's nothing in here about, he told me an eighth, anything higher, lower than an eighth of an inch. Well, you can pour fresh concrete and already be off an eighth of an inch until I talked to John, and then we actually looked it up, and it was a quarter of an inch to half an inch. We totally understand that. But I think that needs to be clear to a lot of the people and not just a letter. They probably need to know what the ADA stuff is to get appropriate people to fix it correctly. And as Al Roller said, if I had it done and it was incorrect, I'd have to pay to have whoever, I get it, that's my issue, but give me the opportunity.
Right.
Julie, you looked that up, the ADA regulations, you looked them up, and it said a quarter to a half?
Anything from a quarter to a half an inch.
We were told here it was a quarter, period.
Anything over a quarter of an inch
Yeah?
is required to be repaired. Anything between a quarter and a half has a different standard, if you will, for the slope or the rise, how far back it has to go. If it's over a half an inch, it has to be a 1 to 12 slope, but there is an exception for that 1/4 to 1/2.
And I think if we do make a ordinance revision, I know we just went through all the ordinances and revised everything, but we missed that. I think we'd have to be very nonspecific, that we would say it's going to meet ADA requirements and maybe reference a link to find the ADA requirement, because as you said, it changes constantly. And
But
we
at
found
this-
that out with our downtown
That's
sidewalk.
exactly what we recommend, John.
But see, at this point, your sidewalk regulation didn't have anything in. It has nothing for us to go by, is all I'm trying to say, is give us a basis, and if you're going to hold us to it and then expect me to pay for it without knowing what any of this is, you need to give people a basis and somewhere to start.
Right.
I agree, that's it.
Yes, we agree with that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
I
for
will
coming.
say, one of the reasons we did put it out for bid to a contractor to do all the repairs was we could get the repairs done at a much less costly rate than what it would be if they went individually. That was one of the reasons.
Well,
Actually, at this point, costly to me would have gotten down on my hands and knees and used my sander like I would everything else for what I saw the guy do. We thought it was going to be some special machine he was bringing through. But like I say, you need to have a standard for somewhere, some of us to start. But more or less feeling some of us got bullied into it and got told I should have had this done 2 weeks ago when I didn't even know anything about it. I'm not on social media. Don't care to be. Independence paper, I think, John, you said it was in there. I don't get the Independence paper. A lot of our neighbors, you know, we have jobs. We don't have time for a lot of this stuff, but if it had come in my mailbox,
Right.
I would have paid attention to it. And I would expect going forward that that's the way this be handled.
Right.
well, and I do think by, as John said, we stopped the program once we realized the problems with people such as yourself bringing it to our attention. I think it was stopped. I mean, we had at one time thought the whole ward would be done in a few days. So I think to be able to get it stopped as quick as we did, but that was a result of citizens bringing their concerns up to us. So we appreciate that.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Thanks a lot. So we do have a motion on the floor. Do you need that to be read back? Do you need the motion, read back the motion of what they're voting on?
They're authorizing the city administrative staff to issue notices to the abutting property owners on the Ward 4 sidewalk project.
The bigger picture though, is the city gonna end up eating part of this then?
I think that's to be determined, Mike. I'm not sure that I have an answer for you tonight.
I got a question. Shouldn't we have been notified of the legal aspect of this before we voted on this the first time?
Well, I think that you were, because we had a conversation with the city attorney prior to you voting on it the last time.
And then how come it wasn't brought up about sending the letters out?
Well, I think the city attorney's already addressed that in his memos to you previously, but again,
Well, I'm just asking.
we were discussing doing it as a city nuisance abatement. City attorney was talking about a state nuisance abatement. They are not the same process, and that's where our misunderstanding was. We were following the city's nuisance abatement process when we started this. When it was apparent that we were on different tracks, we stopped the project, and that's where we're at today.
But we still don't have, like Julie said, we still don't have it in our code book that we have to follow ADA regulations.
That's something we will have to address at a different time as far as
And how can we
changing that
start
ordinance.
forcing people to do something we haven't even figured out what we want them to do yet? We do not have a regulation that says that. We don't have a code that says that. So how can you force them into doing that when
I
we
would
don't have a code?
I would suggest that
3 years.
I know
Yeah.
it, but it was under false pretenses, I think. You know,
Well,
we thought this was all, you know, cut and dry and ready to go, and nobody complained about it till Julie looked it up. She's the one that done the homework on it.
I think that because the state of Iowa is still in the United States, we fall under the Department of Justice guidelines. Their rules will supersede ours, whether we have something in our code or not. So I would argue that we're still obligated to the the Department of Justice guidelines for ADA sidewalks, whether we address it specific or not. So I don't know that claiming the fact that it's not stated in there relieves the city of that responsibility.
We just differ on that. That
Well-
isn't my opinion.
Well, there are things we do as a city that we do because it's a federal or state regulation that's not necessarily specifically listed in our code. An example with the airport, when I was on the airport committee, it's nowhere written that we had to have all of the bills in at a certain date or not have get the funds, but we still had to do it that way. It's, as Al said, we're kind of at the bottom of the feeder chain and food chain, and you just,
I understand that, Bob, but if we were gonna present this to the public, it has to be ADA approved. Don't you think we should have changed the code to state
No.
that?
no, because the code changes. I think we probably put that we will work to keep ADA. We just did housing code. We just changed that a year or so ago, and I'm sure there are things now in the International Housing Code that are different. Our downtown, we thought we did the crossings correctly. We came back a year later to redo First Street, and the ADA rules had already changed, and that's why we had to tear everything out again.
But Bob, if you'd have just changed it to say we're gonna apply or conform to ADA code, that they could change the code 7
Well,
times a week.
and I don't disagree, but that's all a learning curve. That's what, there's 7 of us, the citizens have brought that up, and I don't disagree, but I think we've done 3 years' worth, and it's a good project, and I guess, I don't want to get into this, but the question I had, Al, is are we basically, by this motion, going back and doing what we did the last 3 years?
Sending
That they have a period of time that they can hire their own contractor, but the difference is that if it's not done by a certain date this year, rather than next spring,
Right, that's correct.
that's the difference in what we're saying here. We're modifying it a little bit.
Because
What
we
about
have
the
a
ones that have already
contract.
had
Yeah,
it
what
done?
about Julie? She's already had the hammer dropped.
And I think those are things we'll have to address. It's like a few years ago when we had the running water. We came back and readdressed that. Remember that issue? And we had the freezing pipes and things, and we had people that were paying astronomical costs because of the sewer bill. We came back and we addressed that, and that, at this point, that's not part of what the issue is tonight. Tonight is simply getting this done for the fourth ward
And
for
moving
this summer.
forward, getting the letters out.
Then let's vote on it.
Okay.
I will point out in the sidewalk ordinance 136.02, there are definitions of defective sidewalk. To your point, Denny, they do not meet current ADA, so to your point, we probably need to amend that to reflect ADA, but there are definitions in there that identify a defective sidewalk.
Roll call, please.
Vaughn,
No.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Maybe?
We don't have that as an option.
It's really on the fence with it all.
You have to make a decision.
Doesn't make any difference, it's already done. But
Well,
Well, I
majority.
just clarify that you're basically voting not to do what you're upset about right now and to send out the notices to the rest of the people.
Right, so we can move forward.
So it's done 2 different ways, though, you know? Yes.
Okay. Motion is carried. Thank you.
Do more homework on it next year.
Okay, we're down to reports. Tim, you got anything else as a department head you'd like to report on the street department? What you been up to lately?
We're just fixing water leaks and
You got to come forward. I know you love it. I've seen some of the streets that you've been doing some of the work next to the curbs, up on Third Street especially, and some different areas that were,
We've been doing some blacktopping, we've
Yeah.
been fixing water leaks that happened last winter. We've worked with the line crew, taking down some trees, we're just doing back and forth odds and ends. Mark went their first street each project, when he put a new valve in, we have to do cement the street back. Got the street sweeper out going, he's painting the streets, the lines and stuff in the street, so just keeping the guys busy.
okay. With these two pieces of equipment we approved tonight, how soon will you actually get those to be utilized?
They're probably,
Do they have-
mini hole's probably out a month and a half, 2 months, and the skid loader's probably out 3 months.
Okay, good,
But you've got a skid loader to use until then anyway.
Yes, we do, yep.
okay.
Yep.
Sounds good. Yeah, I've seen a lot of the things you do in patching and stuff. It's like, wow.
They do a good job.
Yes, you are. I commend
Thank
all
you.
your whole crew. Thank you. I'm not sure who's back there. Anybody? Fire department?
Blake.
Oh, my.
Chief is there.
Blake's behind the computer.
What?
Blake is behind the computer.
Blake, do you have anything you want to share with the fire department? No. Okay. Dustin, anything with the police department?
Yep. Couple different things. We have events coming on. August 29th, we're having Cupcakes with Cops in the park by the courthouse. It'll be from 4 p.m. to 5:30. And then that's this 29th, August 29th. And then in September, we're having a fundraiser for the K-9, which is going to be September 21st out at the fairgrounds. We're having a bags tournament. Make sure I get all the right information on it. Starts at 11. It's $50 per team. That includes the meal. They want to like to have everybody registered by September 13th. There's cash prizes for first, second, and third place. We're having silent auctions, door prizes, raffles, just a lot of different things to try to raise money for our K-9 unit.
So people who are not maybe included or participating in the bag thing can still go because there's other items they can participate in for auctions and
Yes.
other things?
Yep. They can come in and bid on silent auctions and for raffles and so forth, yes.
Very good. And that money will all go to the K-9 unit?
Correct.
For its
Yep,
upkeep?
it'll be for our K-9 fund, our K-9 fund for all his trainings and stuff, there are different things that we use. His equipment was all, even the K-9 himself was purchased by funds from the city. So when they started the K-9 unit, it was going to be pretty much taken care of by donations. So we haven't had a fundraiser in, I think it was 3 years since, we had a great one at that time, and now we're just looking to have another. So,
Good, good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Are there any council members that have anything they'd like to bring up?
We've had quite a bit of discussion on social media, and I know not everybody's on social media. The matter's been brought up about golf carts on city streets here in Independence, and one of the things that I had been contacted a number of times was that our Public Safety Committee was going to meet at 3:30 on Wednesday, which most people can't attend because they work. So I talked with our two committee members, Danny and Mike, and we're still going to meet on Wednesday at 3:30 for our normal agenda, the public safety performance, but we're going to meet on August 20th at 6:30 here at City Hall and have for public input on the issue. If people want it or don't want it, they get a chance to come and tell the committee what their feelings are or where they're coming from. Committee's not going to answer questions. We may ask for clarification. We'll go by the same rules as we do for the public forum here, where you get 5 minutes to explain. We may have 5 people, we may have 2 people, we may have 25, but we're giving people that opportunity to come and let the committee know what they would like, or if they are for it, they may have some restrictions or things that they may like to see included if the council would eventually go that route. So that's going to be August 20th at 6:30 on that golf cart on city streets. So that's it.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
I was looking at our calendar, and we have committee meetings scheduled for September 2nd, which is Labor Day.
Those are moved to the 3rd.
Okay, they're still showing on the calendar for the 2nd.
I'll double check that. Yes, thank you.
Usually if there's a holiday on a date, then it's the Tuesday afterwards.
That's why I
is what we've
verified
done.
it was on the
Yeah,
calendar the
yeah.
wrong day, so
Okay.
I wanted to bring it up.
I probably got it on my phone wrong. I'll show up, nobody else will be here, right? On Labor Day?
I've had several complaints in Third Ward. About 2 weeks ago, I had 2 complaints, one by a homeowner that lives across from all the construction equipment that's parked on Sixth, probably Sixth and Sixth, I think. And then I had, since that time, I've had 5 last week, and I'm not sure if it's 8 or 9. Or 2 weeks ago, I had 5, and then this last week, I've had about 9, 8 or 9. Their suggestion is to eliminate parking on Sixth.
You're talking about a
6th Avenue Southwest?
Correct.
a contractor truck and trailer.
Yeah.
We've had complaints up here, and I know that we've had some conversation about trying to move those off of Sixth. But currently, there's nothing that prohibits
Right,
them from
right.
parking on there.
And that's what they said, when I spoke with them, I said, there's no recourse. I mean, you have 24 hours to move, and I said that takes place, and then it's, we're moving ahead, and you've met your obligation.
A couple of them were parked trailers, weren't they?
Yeah.
I didn't think they could park a trailer on the street without the truck being hooked to it.
They can? Okay.
As long as they're moved within 20, and these are usually out of their portion of the day.
Is there a
So-
law against a semi-trailer? 'Cause I know, I'm almost positive you can't park a trailer on the street because the dollies.
I don't think a semi,
I would have to look at semis, but I know like a regular trailer, car trailer, stuff like that can be for 24 hours.
I don't see the difference.
80,000 pounds to a car trailer, there's a difference. So,
and we have talked to the people that live there in that house and let them know our concern and stuff, and
Well, there's
so
a-
they're trying to find a solution someplace else for their equipment and such, so.
Well, there's a petition coming either next week or the week after, whenever they can get everybody on the east and west side of that street to sign off to bring it to us.
To eliminate parking altogether on Sixth Avenue? Oh, wow. When we went
And I
and
think
took it
it's
off one
16
side, that was quite a discussion with people because they needed some street parking for their own home if they didn't have space in their driveway and stuff.
One of the people that called me, I was shocked that she'd called thinking, I can't imagine you'd want to eliminate parking, and she was one of the first people that called to complain to me about it, that suggested. So apparently there's some change of heart in that area, so I don't know. They've told me they've got 16 or 18 already, and so,
That's a small portion of the people involved with it.
oh yeah, but
so,
it's just starting to.
Yeah, yeah.
That's probably the ones in the close vicinity, though.
That could, no.
I drive that street 2 to 4, 6 times a day.
Same
Coming town and here and everywhere. And the street is wide enough that even with that equipment on there, you can get by, but there's some times if a car's coming and they don't get over far enough, you can't get too past.
Yeah, you gotta wait by.
But, yeah, but not all the time. There's times you can still do it and, so I'd be really disappointed to take off parking on that whole side. That'd have a bigger effect on people than just dealing with this particular location and his vehicles, and he's working on a solution to that, so we'll see how it goes, what the people want to do, so we are aware of it and dealing with it. sometimes you just have to be patient just to get it accomplished. Because he doesn't, they're not there 24 hours. I mean, he does move them. That's the same spot where we used to have his boat with the motor on the back that didn't have a flag on it and stuff. And so
Well,
it
these
can,
people are
it can be
tired-
done.
Tired of the boat and tired of this, it sounds like, from
Yeah.
the conversations that they've
Yeah,
had.
probably.
So I think the groundswell is moving in the direction of
Yeah.
no
Well,
parking.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah. So,
I
Any-
want to put a little plug in, if you will, for the library. I was talking to Laura today, and a couple of, come up and asked me, is the library open? Because of, you know, and I said, yeah, it's there, it's still open. And, because they live on the other side of town, and I said, it's a little congestion to get there, but, and then Laura said they get calls and stuff, wondering the same thing. We just want to emphasize the library's there, and it's
Yep.
open, and it might be a little inconvenience to get there, but it's worth the trip.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
I had one thing, and it's that I'm going to rerun for council on November 5th. I live in the 4th Ward, and I'm running in the 4th Ward, so the public knows that. Thank you.
I heard you're starting a different business too.
Living in Second Street.
No.
Got business too?
Shaving off concrete for people.
Kind of hard on my knees.
Gina, do you have anything you'd like to share? Al, do you have anything?
I would just ask that those council members that are attending the annual League of Cities meeting in Dubuque in September to confirm, we've got the ones that have expressed an interest, we've got you registered, but I'd like to confirm that and then also confirm whether or not you are commuting those days or if you're going to be at a conference, so we can track that. So we're just trying to get an accurate head count.
Is there a formal way we have to do that?
Call Gina or I.
What dates you want?
September 25th, 26th, and 27th.
I'll confirm mine.
They do have some good breakout sessions too and events going on at it, so.
Was that out yet for us to see that?
Yes.
Information on it as far as what some of the sessions are was in your city,
Yeah.
The Cityscape publication
Yeah,
had the agenda in the, tucked inside there.
yeah.
We can also send it to you as well, but, you know, obviously Thursday is always the full day. That's the one that has the most sessions. They have Wednesday evening and Friday morning also have sessions, so.
Pat and Holly will be speaking on nuisance issues, so come out and see them.
That'll be a good one.
We just want to make sure that we've got accommodations for everybody and we've got everyone registered.
And what was the two things you signed me up for, the 5K walk or run and
we put the-
kayaking or something?
We put the mayor down for the kayak tour on
Yeah.
Wednesday, and if she survives that, we have her down for the 5K
Yeah.
walk run,
She has to cross the Mississippi, is that it?
and get back.
I
Is
I
that the
won't be
kayak with
doing
a
either
hole
one.
in the bottom of it, too?
I don't go anywhere near the water for something like that, so. That, just because they sign me up doesn't mean I will be showing up for that. There are some breakout sessions and topics that I
And
do
does
want
have the
to go
dog sitting
to.
on the back of the
But, yeah,
kayak.
probably, yeah, but no, I will not be,
Because the holes in front that lifts it up. a little.
yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have. Oh, I take that back. We do have a pre-construction meeting tomorrow morning at 11 for Enterprise Drive East, if anybody has an interest, but it's nice to get that project started.
What's the time frame for 10th Street? When are they looking at starting that?
I thought they were going to start today, but with the weather not. Soon, I think.
Because I had two or three more calls this morning on that.
The last I spoke with the contractor, he had not mailed out the notices yet because he doesn't know exactly when he's going to start.
And that's what they said, they hadn't received anything.
Yep, they will be mailing notices at least week to 10 days before they're going to start, but that's the reason why the residents have not received the notice, because they couldn't give us a time frame for when exactly they were going to start. Initially, they were going to start in July, going to start right away, and everybody was kind of geared up to have that happen. And in one instance, we even went out and did some preliminary staking and some work because they were going to come in, and other things happened, I guess, with their scheduling. So that's the reason why no notices have gone out, is because they, at this point, they don't know when they're going to start. But they are still comfortable with the November 15th completion for the project.
Does their contract have a certain length of time that they have to get it done in, or a certain date by type of thing?
November 15th completion, yep.
Okay.
Like I
for-
said, they
For
are
both
still
of those
comfortable with
streets,
that.
10th and Fifth Avenue?
Correct.
Okay.
It's on,
That just means pitted concrete if they're pouring concrete in November.
Hopefully, it'll be limited to filling behind the curbs and things at that point. But at this point, they've given us no concern that they won't be able to meet the completion date. They've just been delayed to start the project.
if they do get later in the fall, of course, they would not be doing seeding this fall, if they can't get a germination, so.
Yep. Be outside the seating window, perhaps.
Yeah.
So they'd
They
have
do
to
with
go
the
back.
apartment complex out there. I drove by it in the morning, and it was dirt. I drove by in the afternoon, went home, and there's grass and watering going on. It's like, okay, how did that happen so
Those turned out
fast?
very nice.
They did, really. I was amazed, so. I don't think we do that when we do streets, we don't do
Is there gonna be another?
that kind of
unit
grass
about-
type of thing or seeding.
They've actually
Right-
broken ground
Right time of
on
year, you can't.
2 additional buildings, the last 2.
All 4 now, they got,
I think you can see the foundation for the one,
Yeah.
but they're, yeah,
There's
the last 2
there's
buildings.
people
You
are-
can
living
see it
there.
from the interstate. I saw it this morning when we were going to Waterloo.
Yeah. So are the other ones going to be the same kind, or are they 10, because these were 12
The-
apartment
identical.
units? Are they?
Yep.
Because I was thinking out of the 4, there was going to be 2 one-way and 2 for numbers or
no,
something.
they're the same.
Are they all 4?
They had changed their plan before they started to go to all 12 unit
Okay. Okay.
complexes.
Didn't we
They're
have a
looking good.
project a few years ago, though, where the only trouble we ran into, maybe it was down here doing curb and gutter, was the asphalt companies close?
Last year?
That's amazing it was that close. But, I mean, concrete's not a huge problem, but the asphalt's the problem when projects get started way late.
There are some measures that contractors can take to do cold weather concrete. Requires insulating blankets and, other various techniques. So it is possible, but you're right, Bob. With asphalt, when the plants close down, you're done doing asphalt for the year.
45 degrees.
It has to reach that. It has to reach that during the day.
Okay, if nobody else has anything, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf, second by hand raising. Vaughn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.